You're just a casually made kid's toy. Yet you managed to smash right through America's billion-dollar military satellite. They collided head-on. Western countries freaked out and launched the highest air defense alert overnight. They thought World War VI was about to start. But Dragon Country calmly stood up and clarified. They said this is just a kid's toy. It's not a military weapon. But when you showed off a light-speed bomber, a plasma railgun, and an interstellar destroyer, every country started shaking in fear. Meanwhile, the campus belle Suruashue was bringing a rocket model she bought from you to give to her grandpa. When everyone saw the rocket model in her arms, they instantly got interested. These folks were all her grandpa's old comrades gathered for his birthday, and they're all top experts in their fields. One old man named Zhou Aimin put on his glasses and said, "Ruashue, my girl, is this rocket model your birthday gift for your grandpa? Why does it look exactly like a real rocket? I almost feel like it's a mini version of our own rocket, and the material doesn't feel like cheap plastic. Feels a lot like the coating on our Long March series." Zhou Aimin said this while touching the rocket model's shell. After hearing old Zhou say that, old Su sitting nearby took a closer look. When it comes to rocket exterior coating, he's more than familiar. But looking at this model's shell, it's a bit different from their own military factory's coating. So he got curious and asked, "Where'd you buy this model, girl? Where'd you get this model?" "Just a toy factory, that's all. If you don't like it, I'll just move it out later." No, sweetie. This model is really nice. It's got a structure I've never seen before. Leave it here so I can study it." "Oh, right, Grandpa. Here's the remote." She handed the remote control over as she spoke. Old Su looked totally dumbstruck. "Is this thing actually going to fly?" He instinctively pressed the red button. Rocket launch countdown. Everyone heard the countdown coming from the remote and couldn't help but laugh. He spent 30 grand just for a speaker device. Even an LED light would be better. While everyone was chuckling and getting ready to leave, a sudden surge of heat blasted out from the bottom of the rocket model. Right next to it, Zhou Aimin got knocked straight to the ground by the heat wave, and a laser shot out from the rocket's top, instantly burning a hole in the ceiling. Someone screamed upstairs. Then the rocket model whooshed straight through the hole and disappeared from their sight. Everyone was stunned. "No way, it really flew." Zhou Aimin got up, totally blown away. He couldn't help but curse out loud. And Suruashue was even more shocked. She was just mad at you for selling her junk. But now, it turns out that junk is a real rocket. Everyone ran outside and looked up at the sky. They saw the rocket split into 2 pieces in midair. One piece dropped from the sky, while the other half shot upward even faster. "Did I really just see that? A toy rocket with 3 stages?" Even the other officers exclaimed. "Are my eyes playing tricks on me? This is supposed to be a model? That's an actual rocket." Old Su saw all this and quickly called the Air Traffic Command Center. "It's Su Dingwa speaking. Notify all military flight paths to avoid the entire Tianhai City area. We have an unidentified flying object. Repeat, there's an unidentified flying object taking off." A moment later, the rocket model vanished from sight. Everyone turned and stared at Suruashue. "Girl, where did you get this rocket model?" At this point, Suruashue stammered, I don't really know. I just bought it at a toy factory. That's all I really know." Suruashue just spread her hands helplessly. She was even more lost now. She just wanted a simple rocket model, but never expected. "The toy store is selling real rockets." Old Joe looked serious and said, "That laser on the tip of the model cut through the roof instantly. It really looks like a laser weapon. It must have scanned for resistance up ahead and blasted it out of the way. It's like a concept automatic interception weapon." Wang Haitao, director of the Dragon Guard Research Institute, has studied advanced weapons for years. This kind of auto-intercept laser weapon is something they can't even dream about. It's too unbelievable. Everyone craned their necks to look up, not believing something so small could fly that high. Judging by the flight time, it must be breaking through the atmosphere by now. At this altitude, forget shooting down planes. This thing could probably take out a satellite. Do toy rockets have space strike ability now? Even if you strapped a grenade on it, it could do some serious damage. A few old men kept craning their necks and marveling. Just then, old Sue suddenly realized something. Wait, I remember the rocket America launched was flying right toward our airspace. What if they crash into each other? Yeah, and we've got our own satellites overhead too. If we shot down our own satellite, there's no way to explain that. Several old guys frantically pulled out their phones to call headquarters. Meanwhile, America's big global live broadcast was starting. Our great United States, with this 8th generation Hero Series rocket, is using the most advanced rocket launch tech. The speed is more than twice as fast as before. And it's got a fully automated weapon interception system to defend against anything during launch. Plus, the 8th gen rocket can carry up to 50 tons now. This time, we're also using our latest self-recovering tech, which greatly lowers the launch cost later on. And this time, our satellite will show off in space our newly developed Project Thor's Hammer. To avoid unnecessary risks, we plan to aim the Thor's Hammer rod at international waters. After hearing that, everyone around Old Sue stood up in shock. What? The Thor's Hammer project is finished already? Wang Haitao was stunned. Thor's hammer is basically a tungsten rod the size of a utility pole, dropped from orbit in space. It can reach speeds up to Mach 10. At that speed, the tungsten rod can smash hundreds of feet into the ground, destroying any hardened bunker or secret underground site. Even more importantly, when the rod hits the ground, its destructive power is close to that of a nuclear bunker buster. It only takes about 15 minutes from space to target. A hypersonic weapon like the hammer of Thor packs a huge punch, but causes zero pollution. It's a conceptual weapon way more advanced than nukes. If America gets this tech, they'd pretty much be unbeatable. Their target coordinates are close to our country. If America successfully launches the hammer of Thor, it'll definitely trigger a massive tsunami. Our coastal areas would take unthinkable losses. Mr. Su said gravely. America actually launched this destructive weapon without even warning us. They're clearly not taking us seriously. This is intolerable. I'm contacting the relevant department right now. He grabbed the phone and started dialing. Meanwhile, on the TV, a live feed from America's satellite was airing. A dark rod stuck out from the launcher. Now we can see. Our hammer of Thor is now on screen. Wait, what's that? Just as the people on TV were explaining the hammer of Thor, they suddenly noticed under America's satellite, there was a small object flying fast toward the satellite. Warning detected. An unidentified flying object is approaching. A harsh alarm sounded on America's satellite. Everyone watching froze. Who could it be? Daring to challenge America right now? People in front of the TV all started talking. Inside the Pentagon, MacArthur stared at the report in shock. The flying object is unknown. Suspected to be from Earth. Speed is around Mach 100. Estimated impact in 15 seconds. A researcher called out loudly. Someone just can't stand us leading the world. So they're trying to mess things up. But you need real strength to mess with us. Send my order. Continue launching Hammer of Thor. Activate the intercept weapon system now. MacArthur said arrogantly. This is the perfect time to show off our power globally. Infrared lines concentrated around the satellite. Oh my god, they even put infrared missile systems on their satellite. That means hitting their satellites in the future will be way harder. Mr. Zhu saw those infrared beams and collapsed into his chair. Just from this alone, it's clear they're still way ahead of us technologically. Infrared missile intercept system activated. Target locked in. Missiles fired. After a flash of light, dozens of infrared missiles launched toward the UFO. Suddenly, a beam of laser shot up, swept across, and instantly covered all the infrared missiles. All the missiles vanished right after. Everyone gasped. Just as people were still stunned, America's satellite suddenly went silent. The launcher that was already powered up also stopped working. As the camera slowly panned, everyone realized America's satellite had just been hit by that laser and left a hole right through it. The rod ready to launch was split in half by the laser. On America's live broadcast, a tiny rocket flew straight through it. There was a big smiling face with Toy Factory written as it glided by. Not only that, after that little thing flew past, it was obvious that from the object, a spherical electromagnetic wave burst out, instantly wrapping up America's entire satellite. Then, just like an eraser, in space, it cleaned up every piece of America's satellite. The live broadcast signal from America got cut right then. Mr. Su and his crew were speechless watching this. America's Hammer of Thor was stopped just like that. And that logo looked really familiar. Suddenly all the old guys reacted at the same time. Just as everyone was about to check out the toy base, they saw a little thing with a parachute drop gently through the round hole in the roof. It was a part of that rocket. Everyone gathered near the little thing. Turns out it was the booster. Oh my god. That booster actually came back intact. And not just that. It landed so freaking accurately. Right at the launch site. It even reversed itself while landing. This is crazy. A tiny toy just destroyed America's billion-dollar satellite and stopped something that could have been a disaster for our country. I bet that bunch in America is dumbfounded now. Kid, did your rocket model cost a lot? The old men looked at Suruashua again. Not exactly cheap. Suruashua held up 3 fingers. Mr. Su's eyes widened in shock. Only 3 million? Come on, that's a whole rocket. With miniaturization tech too. If you could shrink a rocket that much and keep the cost at 3 million, doesn't that mean we could hit America's satellites anytime? With space strikes. Grandpa, it was actually 30,000. Suruashua swallowed and said what? 30,000. Are you kidding me? 30,000 wouldn't even buy one missile. And you bought a space-flying rocket with all kinds of advanced weapons. Zhou Aiming said gravely, kid, where's that toy factory? I'm really suspicious now that it might be a secret research base. And it's already a threat to us. We gotta go check it out. Mr. Su nodded too. Kid, come with me. Bring the military along. If it's our own people, that's great for our country. If it's some other force. Mr. Su trailed off. Meanwhile, inside the Pentagon, it's been 10 whole minutes since America's satellite got blown open. Everyone in the hall was staring dumbly at the big screen. The screen's been black for 10 minutes. Researchers almost smashed their keyboards. Still no response at all. with the sound of shattering glass. A cup of coffee hit the floor. What the fuck? What the hell just passed by? That foreigner took off his shades and pointed shakily at the big screen. Looks like there's a smiley face and some Chinese characters. A foreigner stood up and said. Meanwhile, he rewound the footage to that moment. On the screen right now, a tiny rocket appeared before everyone's eyes. On this little thing, there was a clear line of text. Is this Dragon Country's attack method? My satellite. Just gone, by you, in a second. MacArthur shouted angrily. Only we, America, can push others around in this world. No one is allowed to bully us. Call Dragon Country's military right now. They must give us an explanation. MacArthur's heart was bleeding. This satellite had all of their top technology put together. Many features hadn't been shown yet. And now it's gone, and just the cost for this satellite. It already reached hundreds of millions. Such a huge price. Got taken out by a tiny toy. Scene change. Back to the toy factory. Mr. Su looked at you seriously. You're Chen Xiao. Did you make that rocket model earlier? After Mr. Su explained everything to you, you finally got it. They weren't here to blame you. Instead, that rocket model you launched got them interested. What's up with you, seriously? I just asked for a toy, but you made a real rocket. Making it was one thing, but you really sent it into space. And you even shot down America's satellite. Now this is a big problem. Su Ruoshua looked at you helplessly. You stared in shock. Wait. What do you mean, shot down their satellite? Crap, are they gonna make me pay for it? Pay what? Space doesn't belong to them. Why were they floating over here anyway? And it's not like we used a weapon. It's just a toy. It's their own fault it's so fragile. Mr. Su said quietly from the side. If you sell us your technology, you'd be completely safe. We'll have people secretly protect you. And give you 200 million as payment. If you don't want to, we can sign a strategic partnership. We'll pay you for using your tech. Actually, before coming, Mr. Su already had a plan. The tech in this rocket model, whether it's the auto-intercept weapon, or the auto-recovery system, even the US hasn't mastered it yet. If we could share this tech, and use it in our military and aerospace, it'd be way more than just catching up. We'd totally dominate. Strength is what gives us a voice. With top-notch technology, who cares what America thinks? You agreed right away when you heard this. The money doesn't really matter. I'm also from Dragon Country. If I can help our nation progress, that's my duty as a citizen. Before Mr. Su left, you scanned his fingerprint into the remote. Because the rocket model sent to space earlier is still in space and hasn't come back yet. After getting back to the base, Mr. Su activated the fingerprint scanner, then put the remote on the ground. The next second, on the controller, it projected a 3D virtual hologram. The rocket model was right there in the middle. Everyone stared in shock at the scene. Oh my god. Is this real-time holographic projection? A researcher said in disbelief. Could be. The whole world was mapped with the rocket at its center. But to get such a huge display, you'd need light absorption scanning technology at least. But this kind of tech, how could it really exist in real life? A researcher waved his hand through the hologram out of curiosity. But the light screens weren't affected at all. Apparently, it's not conventional light projection. Mr. Su also touched it from the side. But the second he touched it, the whole world image moved. To be exact, it zoomed in. Everyone froze where they stood. Mr. Su also seemed to realize something. He kept using his hands to control the virtual image in front of him. He saw that the whole virtual world would zoom in and out as he wished. He tapped on the projection again. It instantly switched to standby mode. 45,678 days? Did I see that right? Mr. Su gasped in shock. On the control panel in front of everyone, there was standby time info. That's the normal standby time in space. If you use extra features, standby time will go down. An old researcher pushed his thick glasses and said, holy moly. Doesn't that mean, if you don't do anything with this rocket model, it can run in space for over 100 years? A rocket energy expert doubted from the side. No way. What kind of material could keep it running that long? Even solar won't do that. Look, it's written here. New energy engine is triggered by atomic level fission, and then charges and outputs in layers. Mr. Su explained as. He read it quietly. Fission trigger? The old researcher cursed it out loud. He knew exactly what that meant. If it could trigger fission at the microscopic level, store power, forget 100 years. It could go for thousands of years easily. But that's impossible. Unless you have particle collisions to kick off development like this. But it's just a tiny toy rocket. How could it already have this level of tech? The senior researcher was full of doubt. Just then, a red exclamation mark popped up on the display. Alert! Alert! A shrill alarm went off. Interceptor weapon system automatically activated. A researcher suddenly pointed at the hologram and said curiously, what's that black dot over there? Everyone looked where he pointed. There were several interceptors on the preset orbit. Mr. Su was stunned. That's the Smart 2. It showed up here. A young researcher asked confused. Smart 2 is the one that builds electric cars, right? I heard they failed to launch their satellite. That's all fake. What we can see is just what the Americans want us to see. The first Smart rocket, already launched successfully long ago. Their space program is different from ours. Their private companies can launch satellites on their own. That's something we just can't monitor. Sue looked serious and said. They're out in space specifically. Monitoring our country's territory in real time. I just didn't expect. They've already succeeded with their second-generation satellite. Looks like. We need to re-evaluate this company. Crap, we're about to hit something. A researcher shouted in surprise. Everyone quickly looked ahead. On the screen right now, that rocket model is already close to the Smart Mark II satellite. But before it even hit, a light screen shot out from the rocket model, covering the Smart Mark II and others. When the light screen vanished, the satellite was gone too. It was just like watching a sci-fi movie. And it all played out live right in front of us. Where'd it go? It's just gone? Are you joking with me right now? Now Sue just totally lost his composure. They searched for so long before, and never found the Smart Mark satellites. They say Smart Mark developed some stealth tech or something, completely untraceable. But in the virtual simulation right here, not only did we find them, we even wiped them out without a sound. Even with Sue's experience, he could hardly believe it now. No one in the room dared to speak. That scene just now was just too shocking. Do you think maybe this was an animation? Projected with hologram tech? A researcher spoke up from the side. Hearing this, everyone soon realized. No way that's possible. Everything shown here, whether it's live holographic projection or hydrogen engines, it's all just too futuristic. Modern tech just can't do that. That guy probably just showed this animation to impress Sue. You know, tried to show off. After all, this is happening out in space. No one can really say for sure. Let's leave it at that for now. We'll talk after the press conference. Even though we've already signed with the toy company, the funds aren't coming in that fast. Let me sort this all out first. Sue rubbed his head and walked out. Meanwhile, at the Smart Mark Aerospace R&D headquarters in the US, Smart Mark was freaking out. Where'd my Mark II go? How did all three disappear at the same time? 3 satellites just vanished? Can anyone explain this to me? Smart Mark was about to lose it. After all, there were only 3 of those Mark II satellites. Only 3 were launched at all. And they even borrowed money from the US government to launch them. Now we're screwed. Could our own satellite have fired by mistake? An employee next to Smart Mark spoke up. Boss, I heard our new satellites were taken out by some weapon from China. It might be some kind of cutting-edge tech. Could ours be hit by China's black tech too? China? Are you insulting my intelligence? Those Chinese only care about profit. They'd never use their resources on high-tech like this. Connect me to the White House now. I need to talk to the president. Smart Mark stormed out in a hurry. Early the next morning, a bunch of American reporters had already arrived. They rushed over in droves, all sent for China's press conference. After all, the US broadcast it live worldwide. They wanted to flex. But now it's just a global joke. Even the Chinese news content was published by the Americans. As soon as the press conference started, an American reporter stood up and asked, did China deliberately attack our satellite yesterday? Trying to start a war? This time, China's foreign minister was the spokesperson. After yesterday's emergency meeting, he'd gotten the full picture of how it all went down. So he was ready for tough questions from the US. Just didn't expect them to go first even before the meeting began. The other side struck first. And the reporter's goal was clear. They just wanted to set the tone right away. No matter what China said later, it would just sound like an excuse. This reporter was really in a hurry. Here in our country, there's an old saying, haste makes waste. You're being way too eager. But that's fine. What makes a gentleman great is being open and tolerant. So I'll respond to your question first. Hua Chuanying smiled slightly and replied to that reporter. Since your country insists that we damaged your satellite, then please ask us, in Dragonland, exactly what method and what weapon was used to attack you. Is that even a question? Everyone saw it. That reporter immediately showed a photo. On this picture of the satellite being attacked, there are Dragonland characters. Isn't it obvious it was someone from Dragonland who attacked our beautiful country? Hua Chuanying replied calmly. You mean this? This thing is indeed from Dragonland. But as far as we know, it's just a small toy. Another reporter from beautiful country spoke up. Toy? Are you kidding? Your toys can fly? And they made a big hole in our satellite, even damaging Thor's hammer. To be clear, your country's toys can't do that. But ours in Dragonland can. On the day you launched your satellite, a toy factory here in Dragonland happened to launch a toy rocket. It just so happened your satellite was right above the toy rocket, blocking the way. Who would have thought your satellite was so fragile? That caused the accident. Hua Chuanying spoke slowly. Beautiful country reporters were stunned. Launching a toy rocket? Are you treating it like a firework? So weak from a bump? What kind of international joke is this? It was a satellite, not some toy. This is just nonsense. Space is territory of beautiful country. Our satellites are up there. And since you broke it, you owe us an explanation. One of the reporters stood up, chin raised. First, the toy rocket this time was launched independently by a Dragonland private company, not the government. When your country's private company launched a satellite and secretly collected data over Dragonland, we didn't interfere. So this time, we hope you treat it the same way. Secondly, space does not belong to beautiful country. It belongs to all people on Blue Planet. Hope that before launching rockets in the future, publish the launch path in advance, so we can avoid another accident. Finally, Dragonland expresses deep regret regarding this collision. We are very sorry and saddened. Thank you, everyone. That's all. Thanks. What regret? What sadness? What about our satellite? All Beautiful Countries reporters were dumbfounded. Sorry. One last thing. Dragonland's toy rockets lately have a lot of people playing with them. So we ask all aircraft above our Dragonland to leave our airspace as soon as possible, to avoid unnecessary losses. This is notification, not negotiation. Hua Chuanin added one last thing and walked out. Meanwhile, in an office in Beautiful Country. What? That's it. This is the worst lie I've ever heard. A man in black next to Biden said. Mr. President, after that press conference, Dragonland showed an identical toy. Based on our FBL department's assessment, it's totally the same as the one from the video. So Dragonland probably wasn't lying this time. And we've already investigated. That laugh haha toy factory is real. Biden widened his eyes and said. So you're saying, Dragonland just randomly launched a toy rocket and knocked down our multi-billion-dollar satellite? Really took it out. The Secretary of Defense nearby said grimly. Mr. President, I'm afraid that's the truth. Before this, space was the absolute advantage of Beautiful Country. So lately, Beautiful Country has been focused on space weapons. Nuclear weapons are not something anyone dares use lightly. But this time, what we were launching, Thor's hammer, is different. Compared to a nuke, it's a much more advanced strike, able to destroy targets from space in one shot. No need for lengthy battles. But such a great project was ruined by a Dragonland toy. This means, Dragonland now has easy space strike capability. Your concern is valid. Those things Dragonland launched not only go into space, they seem to operate autonomously up there. According to the tracks of the 3 Smart 2 satellites, each one, when entering Dragonland's zone, was intercepted. Biden shook his head and said, Dragonland's attitude lately is very unusual. Pretty tough. From this event alone, back at Dragonland, Su Ruoshue asked old Su suspiciously. Grandpa, didn't you say that many functions of this toy were fake? Why did you have Chinchao work on planes then? And even though they're retired planes, they can't just be touched by anyone. He is just a businessman. Girl, you got it wrong. I just found out from you that Chinchao made this toy rocket in only 5 days. Even if all other features are theoretical, just launching the rocket and its self-recovery tech is already amazing. Let me put it this way. The technology in front of us. If Beautiful Country knew about it, they'd spend billions to buy it. The fact that he's willing to give it to us is a massive win. You can see from this, he's truly patriotic and sincere, not just the money grubber. Like you said, old Su sighed. As to why he sold it instead of gifting, I see 2 reasons. First, it makes us value the technology more. No cost means people never treasure it. Second, with his identity, he could have just kept it, but he still shared it. Plus accidentally exposed it on Beautiful Country's global broadcast. Yet didn't blame us. Either he's clueless, or he doesn't even care about these techs. He's a real big shot. This time, we asked him to make it based on a Gen 3 jet, just to see what Chinchao can really do. Besides, we'd love to put that toy rocket's laser weapon onto our fighter jets. But our researchers studied it day and night, and don't even talk about making it. They can't even figure out the basics. This matter needs Chinchao, and we need to test the Gen 5 jet soon. So the official team. But they picked the waters around Tianhai for the exercise. They're running simulated combat. Old Su said seriously to Su Ruoshue. Sakura, they just bought a new generation jet from America. They might come stir things up. So this time, we have to be fully prepared. If they try to mess with us, I'm actually looking forward to Chinchao's team maybe giving us some surprises. Inside the toy factory right now, you're sitting with Old Wang the gatekeeper, munching on roasted chicken. Even though Old Su's payment hasn't hit your account yet, Su Ruoshue's money from before did come through. At least you can improve your food situation a bit. Just then, a big truck slowly stops at the gate. On the truck bed, there's something huge loaded up. It's covered with canvas. Seems like some sort of aircraft. You're Chinchao, right? This is the thing Commander Su arranged to send over. A few soldiers get off the truck. You look at what's in the back of the truck. Totally shocked. So this is what I'm supposed to modify? Such a giant piece of equipment. Before, you just got a call from Old Su, asking you to help modify something. He said the details and payment would be handled later. You didn't really take it seriously. Since the 200 million hasn't arrived yet, you can't exactly say no. So you agreed. You figured it would just be a small gadget. Didn't think it'd be such a massive thing. When they yank off the canvas, you're left speechless. A military officer walks over and says, "Hello, Chinchao. I'm Lu Ming, the one overseeing this project. We're counting on you this time." You scratch your head and ask Lu Ming. It's really not much trouble. They're paying, right? The military can't expect me to work for free. So, how exactly should I modify it? Lu Ming explains. This is our Dragon Nation's 3rd-generation fighter. It's actually been retired. Since the Eastern Zone doesn't have enough 4th-gen jets, We're thinking of upgrading these to fill in the numbers. Actually, the engine and stuff on this 3rd gen are all fine. You don't need to overhaul it. Just polish up the exterior, paint it up, make it look awesome. You nod. The thing's already been delivered, so you have no choice. Looming adds, in a week. There'll be a military drill in the eastern waters. They need the 3rd gen fighters as backup. If you're okay with it, I'll stay here these days, to see if I can help. You don't really trust me, do you? Sure, that's fine. But I've got nowhere for you to sleep. You'll have to make do. That's not a problem. Looming nods right away. Once everyone leaves, you finally start checking out. The old 3rd gen jet in front of you. The chipped paint and busted shell show all its battle scars. You take a deep breath. No matter what, it did serve our dragon nation. A real sky warrior. Can't just let it get scrapped like this. So, let's bring it back to life. You gently touch the old 3rd gen's body and start receiving the modification info. Streamlined frame upgrade plan. Hybrid power system. Holographic radar scan system. Plasma cannon module. You check out the system and see the upgrade plans pop up. You can't help but grin. Inside the Eastern Military Command, a group of top officers sits around the table. The lowest rank here is 2 to 4 stars. At the head is Air Force Commander Zhou. Today's emergency meeting brings everyone here. I think you all know why. This round of drills in the eastern waters. The main star is our latest 5th gen jet. The goal of these drills is to deter Sakura Nation. Lately, near Diaoyu Island, Sakura Nation's ships have been coming and going, but our old 4th gen jets had limited range. Diaoyu Island is already the edge of their flight. Sakura Nation took advantage of this, so they kept provoking. But now, with our newest 5th gen jets, the endurance has doubled. We're ready to act anytime. These demonstrations will definitely intimidate Sakura Nation. Zhou turns to everyone, and there's another update. Heard Sakura Nation bought some new aircraft from America. Not sure exactly what kind yet. Just in case, we need to get fully prepared for this drill. Comrades, Dragon Nation's defense efforts are tough and long-term. We're not like other countries. We started late, our tech lags behind, and every step forward is a real struggle. But we must have faith that we'll win. Even though our production capacity is lacking, this time, our 5th gen fighter is the top of Longwa's technology. I'm sure Longwa's tech will only get better. Zhou said to everyone, his tone serious. After hearing Zhou, everyone nodded in agreement. Might makes right. That saying fits anywhere. This military drill is all about showcasing our 5th gen fighter against the 4th gen. To show off what the 5th gen can do, and to deter Sakura country and its boss, Pretty Country. No mistakes are allowed. 3 days later, you've already finished modifying the 3rd gen jet. Now, a brand new aircraft is sitting in the workshop. Sleek silver body, aerodynamic lines, and a tech-heavy look. Looming can hardly believe his eyes. Wait, is this a 3rd gen jet? Yeah, just tweaked it a bit. Oh, here's the manual. You say as you hand over a manual even thicker than a brick, leaving Looming totally stunned. Well, that's it. We're doomed. This thing looks like they just took apart a 3rd gen jet and put a whole new shell on it. There's no way it'll ever get off the ground. Honestly, their only hope for this 3rd gen jet was, as long as it can fly, it's fine. Most likely, it'll be the first to get shot down by the 5th gen. But with you changing it this much, it just looks good, but it's useless. How am I supposed to explain this? Looming feels like he's completely screwed. Right at that moment, a truck horn sounds at the gate. Looming looks desperate. There's nothing he can do at this point, except grit his teeth and haul it back. At this moment, on a destroyer in the East Sea, a bunch of military leaders are on deck, each scanning the area with a pair of binoculars. The reason they're holding this drill at sea is to highlight 2 new features of the latest 5th gen jet. First, ultra-low altitude flight. With this, we can strike enemy ships near the coast, rendering regular anti-air naval weapons useless. Second, ultra-short carrier takeoff and landing. These 2 new tricks are best demonstrated at sea. It's the cutting edge in today's Air Force tech. Zhou said over the radio. All departments, attention. 4th gen jets, get ready for takeoff. On the destroyer's deck, 2 brand new 5th gen fighters are on standby. According to the plan, the 4th gen jets take off first, then the 5th gen jets launch from the deck, executing ultra-short carrier takeoff, and finally chase the 4th gen jets. Soon, several fighter jets roar overhead, thundering above everyone. A heat wave sweeps over the deck. Even though everyone's sheltering in a safe spot, you can still feel it. The fiery blast from the 5th gen's engines. Next, a blue flash streaks by, and the 5th gen jet shoots into the sky like a blade. Impressive. That 5th gen's catapult launch is incredible. Just 10 meters of runway, and it hits insane speeds. Our 4th gen jets can't match that. Even at full power, the 4th gen needs at least 25 meters. So if we boost production, we could load even more 5th gens on one destroyer. It's possible to outfit a destroyer with several 5th gen jets. Seeing that ultra-short takeoff, the Air Force top brass are totally blown away. The impact is just overwhelming. Up in the sky now, the 2 5th gen jets that took off last are already chasing the 4th gens. Gotta admit, the 5th gen is way faster than the 4th gen. Plus, its radar has a much bigger search range. Nowhere to hide in front of those two 5th-gen jets. Target locked. Weapons free. A 5th-gen pilot, Lanyu, says over the radio. 01 copies, weapons free. Lanyu signals Huang Hai on the other side, giving a hand gesture. The two 5th-gen fighters each spin 720 degrees left and right, then shoot up into the sky. Once they've locked on, they hit the afterburner, swooping down on the 4th-gen jets below. Each launches 2 simulated missiles, sending 4 4th-gen jets gently down. After those attacks, the two 5th-gens end up with other 4th-gens in range. But a beam of light blasts behind the 5th-gen, neutralizing the 4th-gen's counterattacks. Another big climb, getting behind the 4th-gen. Another series of locks. 4 more 4th-gens go down. Back on the deck, the big bosses watch the dogfight in the sky, impressed again and again. No doubt, that's a true 5th-gen jet. Totally on another level. In just 2 minutes, 8 4th-gen jets are out. Speed, power, even agility, not the same league. Incredible. Plus, those two 5th-gens are working together perfectly. So cool, just one left now. Hold on, something's off. Didn't we prep 10 jets? Why's one missing, the 3rd-gen? While everyone's still wowed by the 5th-gens, suddenly they realize a plane's missing. Report, report. Number 10 pilot can't take off. A voice comes through the radio, sounding totally defeated. What? What do you mean you can't take off? Guahaiba, you can't even fly a 3rd-gen now? Zhou Aiming can't believe it. This time, both red and blue team pilots were handpicked by him. These top pilots are treasures of Longwa. In some ways, they matter even more than the planes. For this drill, to really test the planes, the same crew is flying every model. Guahaiba is one of the aces too, yet says he can't fly a 3rd-gen. The big shots are all confused. Guahaiba looks frustrated and says, Commander, honestly, I wanted to say this 10 minutes ago, but I was embarrassed. I've been flipping through the manual, and I still can't even find the start switch. There's just nothing I can do. How did it end up like this? That's not a regular 3rd-gen. Wait, the one you're flying. Is that the one modded by the toy factory? Zhou Aimin suddenly remembered. Yeah, Commander. I don't really know what they did to it, but it's definitely not a normal 3rd-gen. Guahaiba looks totally wronged. Jets next to me shot off just fine, but I can't even find the takeoff switch. Then the others started getting shot down, and I still couldn't find the takeoff switch. That's way too damn discouraging. Switch the live feed to me. I want to see what Guahaiba is up to. Zhou Aiming spoke into the intercom. At the same time, everyone headed straight to the destroyer's command room. When the footage came up, everyone froze. On the screen right now, a brand new plane sat on the tarmac. That's a 3rd-generation jet. You gotta be kidding me. What the hell, it's more like an alien spaceship. No way. That plane is seriously shocking. It's just packed with sci-fi vibes. Someone big noticed something off. It doesn't look like any plane we've got now. It looks more like something from the future. That's not the usual fuselage material. How come there's 0 reflections in direct sunlight? You can see every detail so clearly. Another boss said to the group. It's not just the fuselage. Take a closer look. The entire plane has no weapon mounts or missile pylons anywhere. It doesn't really look like a fighter jet. Everyone quickly nodded. Gui Aiming just looked speechless. I just wanted you to do some simple mods. Now it's literally a toy. Are we just gonna leave a toy that can't fly or fight here for fun? Meanwhile, Guahaiba, inside the plane, already looked totally done. A bunch of big shots were pointing fingers at the screen. He's like a monkey in a cage right now. My face looks like a monkey's butt. This is friggin' humiliating. I mean, I've been in the Air Force almost 20 years now, and I can't even fly this one plane? Screw it, Guahaiba just gave up. He tossed that manual, thicker than a brick, aside. Just threw it over there, and started tapping buttons on the screen. The next second, a huge burst of force shot up from below. Blue light fired out from under the plane. You could actually see the plane levitate. Blinding waves of heat even made the screen look warped. Zhou Aiming saw this, and quickly asked on the intercom what's going on. Guahaiba, what did you do? I don't know, but I've got a bad feeling. And then, with a wail from Guahaiba, the 3rd-gen jet that was floating in midair suddenly vanished. All the big shots looked stunned. Guahaiba, come in. Do you read me? Zhou Aiming kept yelling into the intercom. But there was no response. The radar on the screen lost the signal from the plane too. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? That was a vertical takeoff just now, right? One big shot asked, stunned. I was wearing my sunglasses and saw it perfectly. Yeah, it really was a vertical takeoff. Then with one lateral push, it just vanished. Just that takeoff speed alone had to be at least Mach 1. Oh my god. And that's just the takeoff speed. Accelerating from 0 to Mach 1 was pretty much instant. Right then, the radio operator came on, sounding anxious. Report. We've spotted an unknown flying object in our exercise zone. And a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. They're moving really fast. From the direction, it looks like it's coming from Sakura country. Hearing this, Zhou Aiming was shocked. Could be trouble from those Sakura folks. They know we have military drills here, but still sent their nuclear carrier group over. And that unknown flying object could very well be the one they just bought from America. What's the current situation in the air? Report, all 9 4th-gen jets have been shot down and returned. Our 5th-gen jets are patrolling. Standing by for orders. Prepare for short landing on the carrier. Tell them to stop the drill immediately. There's an unidentified aircraft approaching our area. Have them go check it out. This is our Dragon Country Sea Zone. Warn them to leave now. Use force to drive them away if necessary. Yes, Commander, he nodded. This time, they were fully prepared. They already knew ahead of time that Sakura Country might send little animals. Usually, when the boss wants to make a move, he lets his dogs bark outside first. So for this 5th-gen jet, besides the training weapons, it was loaded with live rounds too. Just to handle surprises like this. Lan Yu and Huang Hai received their orders and immediately headed towards the direction of Sakura Nation shown on the radar. They started searching. Soon after, a fighter jet appeared in their line of sight. When they saw the jet, Lan Yu was really surprised. Even though there was a small sun emblem on the fuselage, the design of the plane didn't look like a typical Sakura Nation fighter. It actually looked more like an American jet. But they'd never seen this type before. Reporting, 01, this is Lan Yu. It looks like an American next-gen fighter. Lan Yu had just finished speaking when that jet in their sights was suddenly shrouded by a hawk-like cone. In the blink of an eye, it shot right between the 2 5th-gen fighters. Is that supersonic flight? It's hitting at least Mach 3. Let's go after it. Lan Yu spoke over the radio, teaming up with Huang Hai to fly their 5th-gen jets and chase the Sakura Nation's latest fighter. As Lan Yu relayed the info, his words reached the command room over the radio. A group of commanders were left speechless in shock. They know all the American fighters on the market, but Lan Yu said he didn't recognize the one in front of him. So it must be the very latest US jet. And they're actually selling it to their allies. Obviously targeting this Dragon Nation military exercise. Based on Lan Yu's report just now, the new American jet's performance is probably better than the Longu 5th gen. Zhou Aiming spoke to everyone. Looks like the rumors are true. The US really did complete their next-gen fighter. And since they're selling it to Sakura Nation, the tech must be pretty mature. If it's doing Mach 3, it could even outrun regular anti-air missiles. Up in the sky, the 2 Dragon Nation jets were chasing after that new Sakura Nation fighter. But no matter how much Lan Yu and the others sped up, they just couldn't close the distance. And during this chase, the Sakura Nation jet kept making all sorts of taunting moves. Lan Yu angrily spoke into the comm, reporting, 01, our normal speed just can't keep up. We want to switch to max speed mode and try to stop that jet. It's already entered our Dragon Nation airspace. Max speed mode is a special feature of the Dragon Nation 5th gen jets. Basically, you burn a ton of fuel to boost your speed. It has big downsides, like shortening engine life and range. Zhou Aiming knew there was no other choice. If we can't even catch up to that jet, all the other features are pointless. Speed is the most basic feature of an aircraft. And the most important. Zhou Aiming said seriously. Lan Yu, this is 01. You may activate max speed mode. We'll coordinate coast airports and control. In case you need to make an emergency landing, give it all you've got. He knew this combat test of the new 5th gen jets was meant to intimidate the opposition, but never expected Sakura Nation would try, with their newest jets, to ruin Dragon Nation's goal. This is about the military's honor. Going all out is the only option. Zhou Aiming prayed silently, hoping once their jets switch into max speed mode, the Sakura Nation jet would back off. That way, they'd still hold the strategic deterrence. Lan Yu and Huang Hai, on orders, immediately switched to max speed mode and chased after the Sakura Nation jet ahead. In max speed mode, the 2 5th gen fighters quickly caught up to the Sakura Nation jet. But then, the Sakura Nation pilot actually flipped them off from inside his cockpit. And with another burst of speed, he left the 2 jets in the dust again, flying into Dragon Nation airspace. Seeing this, Lan Yu locked on while he had the chance and quickly fired a missile. After all, the Sakura Nation jet had already been warned, but was still forcing its way into Dragon Nation airspace. So they were allowed to defend themselves. As the missile chased after the enemy jet, the Sakura Nation plane managed to accelerate again, climbing up, heading higher and higher. The 2 jets followed close behind. But at 20,000 meters, that was their limit. They could only watch the Sakura Nation jet keep climbing, pierce into the clouds, and disappear from sight. On the radar, the missile couldn't catch up at all. And once its engine ran out of fuel, it dropped into the sea. Lan Yu and Huang Hai were stunned. They were shocked that the American-made jet was so fast. It even outpaced their air-to-air missile. That basically makes it unbeatable. It's almost invincible now. Back in the command room, there was dead silence. Watching that missile fall into the ocean completely crushed everyone's last shred of hope. War had already broken out. Yet their missile couldn't even catch up. Now, their 5th gen jet just looks like a joke. They pulled all of Dragon Nation's best tech. Yet against American fighters, they're being totally dominated. That helpless feeling of defeat weighed on them like a mountain. Zhou Aiming let out a powerless sigh. Call our pilots back. We'll file a diplomatic protest. Weak countries have no leverage. If we truly had advanced jets, we could have just shot them down. But now, even with the most advanced planes, there's still nothing we can do. Not to mention Sakura Nation. They've even got a nuclear carrier group waiting offshore. If a real conflict breaks out, that carrier group could show up anytime. Our carriers are just for show, and nowhere near combat ready. Right now, all the officers' faces turned beet red. Never have they felt so frustrated. Just as the mood in the command room had turned ice cold, a sudden call came through on the radio from Guahaiba. Oh, shoot. 0101, I finally got through. Everyone was caught off guard. They'd totally forgotten about Guahaiba. Zhou Aiming quickly snapped back. Like he'd grabbed a lifeline. Picked up the radio. Guahaiba, this is 01. What's your status over there? Zhou Aiming spoke to Guahaiba. Reporting, 01. Honestly, I can't even believe it myself. Turns out I actually just took a trip into outer space. That was insane. I finally found the operation manual and the documentation. And now I have basic control permissions. At least I can operate the jet now. Just now, when I was in outer space, I lost all signals. Now, it took some work to reconnect to our channel. As soon as Guahaiba finished speaking, the command room went dead silent again. All the high-ranking military officials looked shocked. They just stood there, stunned. Space travel can actually come back now? You were only out of contact for about 10 minutes. You went to space and back that quickly? And didn't have any issues at all. Even found time to flip through the manual. At your speed, isn't the plane as fast as a rocket? Is this a plane or a spaceship? Guahaiba's story was way outside anything they understood. Let alone the fact he's not an astronaut. Even if an astronaut went out and back, they definitely wouldn't describe it like Guahaiba did, as if it was nothing special. Guahaiba kept trying to explain on the radio. Sir, I'm not lying. If you don't believe me, I can land on the destroyer now. Land on the destroyer? Where are you exactly right now? Zhou Aimin heard this, and quickly moved to the radar, but saw just that flashy brand new American jet, flying around like an annoying fly. No other aircraft showed up. I'm hovering right above the destroyer, Guahaiba said excitedly. Everyone was stunned to hear that. They rushed outside and looked up at the sky, but after looking around, nobody spotted any plane. Sorry about that, generals. I wasn't paying attention just now. I've been in stealth mode the whole time. Once Guahaiba finished talking, his plane finally showed itself in the sky. Seeing this, everyone's eyes popped wide open. They're sure there was absolutely no plane near here before. They didn't expect it to suddenly appear like that. How can a plane go invisible? It's one thing for the radar not to see it, but even their eyes couldn't spot it. Zhou Aimin grabbed the radio and said, Hold on, Guahaiba. No need to land just yet. He remembered watching that toy rocket going into space before. He never imagined this time giving the plane to that toy factory for upgrades would really produce something this amazing. Now, it might just beat the latest American jet. Send them packing. Zhou Aimin is putting all his hopes on the plane you modified. Zhou Aimin told Guahaiba. Guahaiba, listen up. There's a Japanese fighter jet, most likely America's latest model, flying inside our drill zone. Our 2 latest 5th-gen jets have been beaten. The rest is up to you. This fight is all about the honor of our country. Got it, sir, don't worry. I promise to get the job done. Hearing Guahaiba's words, the officials finally relaxed a bit. For everyone, right now, they'd prefer if all the unbelievable stuff Guahaiba claimed were actually true, than letting that jet fly so arrogantly. Guahaiba heard this, didn't hesitate. He pushed the launch button right away. Next second, after a loud roar, his plane vanished again. 2 seconds later, 2 giant water sprays exploded over the sea. Everyone was stunned watching this. Was the plane just hovering up there? Is this thing a fighter or a helicopter? After the jet flew off, Zhou Aimin finally snapped out of it. All that time just now, Guahaiba's plane was hovering the whole time, and without any huge vertical jet blast, just calmly floating in the air. It's totally impossible to think of this plane as anything normal. That Chinshao really knows his stuff. Let's wait until it's over, then we'll see. Right now I need live footage of the whole sea area. And keep a close eye on the nuclear-powered carrier group. They are already at the edge of our country's waters. Show me the live footage. Keep the evidence. As Zhou Aimin spoke, he led everyone back into the control room. Up in the air, the Japanese pilot was proudly flying circles. Before, they paid high prices, even begged on their knees, but couldn't get these planes. This time, America somehow agreed to sell. Gotta admit, America's tech really is top-notch. It's way above what Japan's own jets can do, by more than a couple of levels. This time, compared to Dragon Country's latest 5th-gen fighter, we're ahead by a huge margin. Not to mention anything else. Just the pure speed alone is a total advantage. I heard their chief is here watching in person. Looked like there was a destroyer spotted just now. Let's go circle it for some excitement. Anyway, we've got plenty of fuel. Just a bunch of sick East Asians from Dragon Country. How could they possibly compare to our mighty host, America? The Sakura Country pilot mumbled to himself. But just as he was about to turn back, suddenly noticed something above his own jet. A dark shape appeared. The Sakura Country pilot got curious. He looked up, and instantly got scared and shivered all over. Right above his plane, a jet showed up somehow, no idea when, and it had Dragon Country's flag on it. But his jet's radar didn't signal anything at all. When did this jet arrive? How did it just silently appear right next to his plane? It's gotta be a hallucination. The Sakura country pilot freaked out. He slapped himself hard. But the jet above was definitely real. Inside the cockpit, the pilot was casually reading a book. Seriously, what the heck? That's just humiliating. The Sakura country pilot got angry. He boosted his speed, hoping to shake off the jet above. But he realized, no matter how he flew, even pushing his speed to max, this jet still stuck to him, barely moving. Cold sweat poured down from the Sakura country pilot. Flying like that shows they're way more than fast enough. Just messing with him, really? Fine, let them play. Let their little Sakura try to race us. Get him riled up in his command center. Zhou Aimin and his team watched the planes, clapping and laughing happily. Everyone cheered loudly. That Sakura country jet earlier was bullying them like that. Now the tables have turned. For everyone, it's super satisfying to see. Nothing beats instant karma. The Sakura country pilot saw, no matter what, he can't shake off Dragon Country's jet. So he just made up his mind and headed toward his own nuclear-powered carrier fleet. He wanted to lure Dragon Country's jet over. That way, their nuclear carrier fleet would have a reason to attack Dragon Country's jet. No matter how good this jet is, it's only one plane after all. Facing the firepower of the nuclear carrier fleet, no jet could escape. Oh, they seem to be flying toward the nuclear carrier fleet. Zhou Aimin figured out the Sakura country jet's plan. He urgently shouted into the intercom, "Guahaiba, stop chasing now. Don't get hit. If you're shot down, that's a huge loss for us." Guahaiba asked Zhou Aimin for instructions. "Rest assured, Chief. I couldn't find the attack and defense buttons earlier. Now I've got them. This fighter's potential hasn't even reached its limit. I request to keep pursuing. That jet already crossed into our airspace. Dragon Country's territory and airspace is sacred and inviolable." For a moment, Zhou Aimin couldn't decide. On one hand, he really hoped this modified jet might create a miracle. On the other hand, he worried if it failed, they'd lose that advanced fighter, and Dragon Country's honor would take another hit. "Commander, I think even a toy rocket could launch and knock down America's satellite. I believe it works. This upgraded jet will surprise us too." Su Mingqiang stepped forward. He's Su Ruoshua's father. He was there for the rocket launch too. Zhou Aimin nodded at him. He took a deep breath, picked up the intercom. "Guahaiba, listen up. From now on, you can defend freely, attack freely, make your mark in this battle. Dragon Country's territory is sacred and can't be violated." Guahaiba replied seriously. "Roger, mission guaranteed." Right now, the two jets were speeding up, heading for the nuclear carrier fleet out in the ocean. And the carrier fleet's mothership had already been briefed on its pilot's plan. The nuclear carrier fleet was pushing into Dragon Country's waters. Every ship's anti-air weapons were fully on standby. Countless jets swarmed off Sakura Country's carrier like flies, ready to intercept Dragon Country's jet. For Sakura Country, they bought this American jet, but paid a huge price for it. First, they officially accepted America as the boss. Except in public diplomatic events, Sakura Country's prime minister, when meeting America's president, has to kneel and bow their head. Never mind the billions in debt. And they only have usage rights for this jet. Whenever America wants it back, they have to send it immediately. So this jet absolutely can't mess up. Right now, Guahaiba's display was covered with tons of red dots. Straight ahead, a swarm of carrier jets was coming his way. And on the edge of the screen, a flood of alarms let him know over 100 missiles locked on him. Guahaiba swallowed hard. Honestly, he was pretty freaked out now. This jet was way beyond his expectations. But right now, he was facing a full nuclear carrier fleet. On the plane screen, all the carriers were showing up in clusters, with their formation. Plus one more. Top fighter way better than Dragon Country's 5th-gen jet. Guahaiba got chills just seeing it. Honestly, the carrier fleet's combat power is insanely powerful. With so many ships, taking down one jet, or even a small country, isn't all that tough. Their forward fleet already entered Dragon Country's waters. Carrier jets rushed at Guahaiba now. Just as Guahaiba was shaking and about to fight, he had already entered the carrier fleet. Suddenly, a cold electronic voice sounded in Guahaiba's ear. Electromagnetic shield activated. Right after, a spherical electromagnetic shield emanated from the jet center, spreading out in every direction. Where the shield swept, every electronic device shut off. Every jet in the sky, except Guahaiba's own fighter, all the others, dropped into the sea like dumplings. At the same time, all the instruments in the entire nuclear-powered carrier group completely stopped working. Even the nuclear-powered engines shut down. The fleet slowly stopped on the sea. The people from Sakura Country were totally stunned. Right now, on the Sakura Country's nuclear-powered carrier Yamato, the entire command room was pitch black. Admiral Hanashida Goro from Sakura Country stared at the dark screen in front of him. Almost peed himself. He stomped his short legs and yelled in the command room. "What's going on? Where's the power? Where's the signal? What the heck is happening?" A soldier said from the side. "There's no power. Seems like our circuits have crashed. The exact cause is unclear. How would I know there's no power? I'm not blind." "Unclear your big nonsense. Check it, quick." Hanashida Goro shouted angrily. Reporting, power system disabled. Reporting, propulsion system disabled. Report after report kept coming in. Hanashita Goro was freaking out. Just then, a loud explosion boomed from the carrier's deck outside. Oh my god, look! A Sakura country soldier outside pointed outside in disbelief. Everyone looked where he pointed and were completely frozen. Outside looked like the end of the world. The planes in the sky were spinning wild like flies. The only reason they're still flying is because the pilots are skilled. They're steering powerless planes, circling in the air. On the deck, 3 planes tried to land by force. They crashed into each other. Huge flames and flying debris everywhere. The deck was a complete mess. Earlier, the accompanying helicopters and such were already gone. Once they lost power, they dropped into the sea like dumplings. The rest of the planes barely stayed in the air, just gliding. They all wanted to land on the carrier's deck at the right moment. But now, none of them had power. They couldn't be controlled at all. All they could do was barely steer, watching the planes wobble. As they dove toward the deck, they looked like kamikaze attackers, total bug. If this keeps going, they'll crash the Yamato for sure. Hanashita Goro yelled in panic. He was really scared now. Those 3 planes forced a landing just now and crashed together, left a giant hole on the deck. A few more crashes like that, and their Yamato could be sunk by their own planes. Quick, everyone get mechanical weapons ready and fire at them. Drive them away from our ship. Don't let them keep forcing a landing. Hanashita Goro was totally freaking out this time. The radio was already dead. No way to contact them. If their own ship got sunk by their planes, Sakura country would be super embarrassed. But for those planes in the sky, they were completely panicking now. Forced landing wouldn't work either. A lot of pilots were gearing up to parachute out. But right as they jumped, what greeted them was a sky full of bullets and cannons. Earlier, Guahaiba attacked. Only electronic systems, all weapons controlled electronically, were completely disabled. But the ship's mechanical, anti-aircraft guns and firearms weren't affected. The people on the ship, wanting to keep things secret, fired bullets and shells non-stop, shooting wildly at the planes. Those planes already had no power, so they couldn't dodge properly. Explosions of planes filled the sky. It looked like fireworks going off. Countless planes were blown apart in midair. The unlucky ones, who had already parachuted out from Sakura country, weren't targeted by bullets, but got hit by explosion waves and flying debris. Parachutes snapped like hornet nests. They screamed and fell into the sea. These carrier planes were prepped for battle, so they were loaded with fuel. Just took off recently, now fully armed. Once an airborne explosion occurred, the chain reaction was intense. Missiles exploded and scattered everywhere. Surrounded by other wobbly planes, they basically fought to explode first, lighting up the sky with blasts. Hanashita Goro saw the fireworks everywhere and was totally dumbfounded. His mind went blank. In just 5 minutes, there were no planes left in the sky. And after they fell, not all crashed into the sea. A lot landed within the carrier group range, making the destroyers and cruisers explode too. The 2 submarines originally underwater surfaced after their circuits crashed and got destroyed by the falling carrier planes. Hua Xiaowulong just dropped to his knees right on the deck. It's over. The Yamato fleet is totally finished. Hua Xiaowulong rolled his eyes up. He passed out instantly. Up in the sky at that moment, Guahaiba stopped and watched it all. All the planes have been confirmed to have crashed into the sea. As for the rest of the nuclear carrier fleet, every ship got hit by the blast. The Yamato nuclear carrier was covered in thick smoke. Half the deck was blown apart. It's hard to say if it'll ever see service again. Those 2 submarines got it the worst. They're already fully sunk after the explosion. With a thunderous boom, another explosion hit a cruiser. Must have been fire on deck that set off the ammo storage. It blew up from inside the cruiser. The blast tore the cruiser clean in 2. It slowly started sinking. Earlier, that flashy new fighter jet from the States, while taxiing just now, crashed right into another US plane. It ended up as a pile of scraps. Meanwhile, on Dragon Nation's destroyer, all the military top brass were just as stunned, watching the spectacular explosions far off. Even after the fireworks were over, everyone was still speechless. Zhou Aimin was the first to snap out of it. He gulped down hard. He asked everyone, were all those planes just destroyed? Su Mingqiang, stuttering, spoke up next. How is this even possible? Those were dozens of carrier planes. How did they suddenly all fail and drop into the ocean? All they saw was a flash of light. Then Sakurajima's planes fell like dumplings. Was this all Guahaiba's doing? Zhou Aimin suddenly realized something. There's no way. That's an entire nuclear carrier group. Beside him, one officer slapped himself hard. No way. One person took down an entire nuclear carrier group? A nuclear-powered carrier group is the strongest military force known to man. No exceptions. The teamwork and flexibility of a real carrier fleet, power-wise, is on another level from any single weapon. Dragon Nation, as of now, only has 2 refitted carriers. With the current Navy strength and plane setups, there's no way to form a nuclear carrier group. As for Sakurajima, their advantage in the past during world wars, being able to run wild everywhere, dominating the Pacific, was mainly because they had those carrier groups. But now, a single plane wiped them out. The military brass looked like they'd seen a ghost. Just then, Guahaiba's voice came on the radio. 0101, this is Guahaiba. Mission complete. Requesting permission to return. Hearing this, everyone snapped to attention. Zhou Aimin shakily picked up the radio. Guahaiba. Land on our destroyer now. Guahaiba answered and started heading back. After putting down the radio, Zhou Aimin froze a moment. Looking at the burning Sakurajima carrier group far off, he suddenly crouched down and broke into sobs. After all these years, as the Air Force commander of Dragon Nation, he always saw the US, the Russian Bear, and also Sakurajima, all having way more advanced planes and tech. It sure made him frustrated. This time, Sakurajima even humiliated them, using the US's latest fighter jets right in public. And Sakurajima boldly brought their nuclear fleet. Right here, clearly to back up their planes. For Zhou Aimin, it felt like a heavy stone on his heart. Who would have thought? They'd finally smash Sakurajima and wipe out all their carrier planes. With Dragon Nation's own tech. Hearing Guahaiba's firm voice just now, Zhou Aimin couldn't hold back anymore. All those years of frustration washed away. Everyone else felt the same way. They were all in tears, covering their faces. Crying like kids. This victory was more than just a military exercise win. It's more than defending the nation. It meant Dragon Nation's Air Force and Navy finally stood up. Everything that happened today turned all past humiliations into nothing. One battle made them legends. Such a glorious comeback. When Guahaiba stepped off the jet, he was stunned. On deck, over a dozen high-ranking officers of Dragon Nation were supporting each other, crying uncontrollably. Guahaiba felt his heart clench. Oh no, oh no. Did I just make big trouble for Dragon Nation out of impulse? I swear to the heavens. I really had no idea. This jet's defenses were so strong. That was only one defense system turned on. Didn't even use attack mode. And still took out a whole nuclear fleet. Back then, Guahaiba was just as freaked out. This was no small matter. Even though the whole carrier group entered Dragon Nation's waters, and their planes violated Dragon Nation's airspace, still, this strike to Sakurajima was basically catastrophic. It's very likely Sakurajima, and even the US behind them, will use this as an excuse to come after Dragon Nation. Guess I was too rash. Guahaiba felt pretty down, thinking he'd have to face the consequences alone. Even if he got court-martialed, he'd stick to his decision. That this was all him acting on his own. With that in mind, he walked up to the group. Commander, I was wrong. I'm willing to take all responsibility. Go ahead and arrest me. Guahaiba held out both hands. Everyone was stunned by his reaction. Why would we arrest you? Kid, you did amazing. I'm gonna award you first-class honors. When Zhou Aimin saw Guahaiba approach, he wiped his tears with his calloused hands and gave Guahaiba a huge hug. The rest of the military big shots crowded around too. Guahaiba was super confused. What does this mean? Are they actually giving me a reward? Did I really do the right thing this time? In that moment, Guahaiba got it. Reporting in, Commander. Mission accomplished. Mostly, it was this upgraded fighter that made the difference. Honestly, I didn't do much. Guahaiba gave a salute, then scratched his head awkwardly. After some chatting, they finally noticed the jet behind Guahaiba. A dozen top officers had their eyes shining, circling around the fighter with awe. What's this thing made of? It can even use optical stealth. Look at the sunken jet nozzle. Even the nearby paint hasn't changed a bit. Doesn't that mean the paint can handle heat? It's gotten to a pretty scary level. Oh my gosh. Look at these lines. Their design logic is totally different from ours. But it still reaches such high speeds. What kind of propulsion does it use? And the way the cockpit feels to operate. What's with these buttons? It even has a panoramic sunroof. Wait, where's the propulsion module? Where's the weapons module? A bunch of experts are raving about it. In the end, everyone turned to look at Guahaiba. Guahaiba quickly grabbed the manual in his hands, which was even thicker than a brick, and hurried over. He flipped through the manual, while explaining it to over a dozen elderly men with reading glasses, and started explaining. Meanwhile, at the Su family home in Tianhai City, Grandpa, are you okay? Please don't scare me. Inside the Su family's villa, came a startled cry from Su Ruoshue. Just moments ago, Su Ruoshue was watching the military exercise live, in the living room with her grandpa. The atmosphere was heavy from the start. Neither of them had anything to say. Now and then, Grandpa Su would sigh heavily. With lots of sighs. Dragon Country's newest jet was totally outmatched by America. It made them feel terrible. But not long after, things took a wild turn right on the spot. It made Su Ruoshue jump up and shout in surprise. She was beyond happy. The more down she felt before, the more excited she felt now. But when Su Ruoshue sat back down, she noticed her grandpa wasn't moving. When she turned to look, she saw him clutching his chest, collapsed on the couch. He saw the Dragon Country jet take out the Sakura Country nuclear carriers, and got so excited his heart condition kicked in. Su Ruoshue was totally freaked out. She knew it was her grandpa's heart acting up, but she still panicked. She had no idea what to do. She scrambled to find the right medicine, but the more panicked she got, the less she knew what to do. Her parents weren't home at the time, so she was the only one around. She watched as grandpa's breathing got weaker and weaker. Su Ruoshue was so anxious she started crying. Just then, the doorbell suddenly rang. Suruashua rushed over like it was her lifeline. She hurried to open the door, only to find you standing outside. She didn't even have time to talk, and tears started streaming down her cheeks first. Seeing that, you were totally confused. You just came by to ask about the payment since the jet was delivered. But opening the door totally shocked you. Grandpa, my grandpa, Suruashua stammered out. Her words made no sense from panic. So you rushed straight in. That's a heart attack. You quickly searched the pockets of Grandpa Su's coat to look for something. Usually, people with a heart condition carry emergency nitroglycerin. And sure enough, in the coat pocket, you found it. You quickly gave it to Grandpa Su. Then you laid him out flat and loosened his collar. You turned and asked, "Did you call 911?" Suruashua shook her head right away. "Don't panic. Go open all the doors and windows. I'll make the call." You calmly told Suruashua what to do. She rushed to do exactly as you said. "It's okay, I already did what the doctor said to do. I took care of a few things. They're coming right now. Don't worry." Suruashua watched Grandpa's breathing stabilize and finally breathed a sigh of relief. Suruashua wiped her tears and thanked you. "If you hadn't shown up out of nowhere, I really wouldn't know what to do. If anything happened to Grandpa because of me, I'd regret it forever." Before long, the ambulance arrived. You helped move him onto the stretcher and headed to the hospital. Inside the hospital, Grandpa Su was rushed into the ER. Suruashua's mom hurried over as soon as she got the news. "Chinshao, thank you so much this time. If it weren't for you, he would have been in real danger." Wang Meiwan looked at Suruashua and scolded her. "You silly girl. You're old enough now, but you're still so clumsy. If it wasn't for her, what would we have done?" Suruashua struggled to stop crying, but tears came again. Just then, the operating room door swung open. A doctor walked out. "The patient is out of immediate danger, but he needs to stay for observation. Family, please come take care of the paperwork." Hearing that Grandpa Su was okay, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Just as you were about to say something, you suddenly heard hurried footsteps. Then a dozen officers walked over. Leading them was Suruashua's father, Su Mingqiang. Su Mingqiang was actually at a military exercise. But as soon as he heard Grandpa Su was in the ICU, he took a helicopter straight to the hospital. He brought some military officers with him. After all, Grandpa Su's status is too unique. He's a top tech expert in Longwa. If anything happened to him, it'd be a huge loss. "Chinshao, what are you doing at the hospital?" Su Mingqiang saw you at the door too. And you were with his daughter. He immediately had a bad feeling. It was like seeing a pig sitting with a cabbage. Side by side. "I just said I ran into her by chance. If nothing's wrong, I'll take off now." But when you saw the vibe, you didn't feel good about this. A whole fleet of nuclear carriers taken out. That kind of diplomatic disaster shouldn't be my problem, right? It's not like I ordered them to attack. You kept thinking, and decided it's time to run. "Stop." You suddenly heard someone call out. Su Mingqiang barked out commands you knew well. "Attention. About face." You turned around, totally helpless. "Xiaolu, take him home. Commander Zhou from Ziahaha Toy Factory is waiting for him." Su Mingqiang said to the guy behind him. That caught you off guard. You thought, great, I'm definitely being watched. But now there's no escape. They've already blocked the toy factory entrance. Even if you tried to run, you can't really get away. Li Jian had no choice. He just followed them into the car. The whole way, no one spoke. When you finally got to the factory gate, you were totally stunned. The area near the factory was full of military-plated cars. Plus, there were a lot of strangers around. They may look like civilians, but it's obvious at a glance. They're actually military guys in disguise. On the security room of the factory, there was even a sniper on standby up top. Oh my god. What's with this massive setup? You walked down, eyes wide in shock. You saw a bunch of old men crowding around security guard Lao Wang, all talking nonstop, spitting as they talked. They went from complaining about old bullying, to bragging about today's big win, to even dreaming big about the future. All the top guys were glowing with pride. Even their once hunched backs were straight. Their words came quick now. They sounded more confident too. Earlier, they were all about retiring. Now they wanted 500 more years. Hoping to see Longwa lead the East and beyond. Lao Wang, the guard, was covered in sweat, wiping it with his sleeve every so often. You couldn't help but take a sharp breath. The guys around Lao Wang were all at least generals. That's a serious scene. Did you just stir up a nest of generals? What are you all doing here? Once you spoke up, all the big shots went silent. They all turned to look at you. When they heard, the jet was remodeled by the toy factory boss. They thought, this owner must be some big shot genius. Maybe even some secret scientist working among civilians. But they had no idea you'd be so young. Now everyone's eyes were all on you. You started feeling creeped out. Honestly, these men were the real generals of Longwa. No exaggeration. They all survived brutal battles. They've got intense energy just being there. Now with dozens of eyes on you. Even looming off to the side was shaking. Their leader, Zhou asked you, is that new jet really your work? You smiled and said, yeah, I built it. Otherwise, none of you generals would bother showing up to my tiny toy factory. Zhou was really impressed. Not bad, not bad. A real hero, even at a young age. Would you mind if we? Go ahead, I don't mind at all. Then you led everyone toward the workshop. But once they got outside the workshop, they were all stunned. You've got to be kidding me. Such a high-tech plane was upgraded in this old, beat-up factory? Exactly. It's not about the place. It's about the tech. The generals all nodded at that. Back when they were building the atomic bomb, the environment was way rougher. It was super basic at the time. But they still got results. Even though conditions improved later, the output got less and less. But you, as a civilian engineer, stayed true to your mission in such tough conditions. Guess that means you put every dime into R&D, not the outside environment. Even used the toy factory to keep things running. Just to keep on researching. That's the spirit Longwa needs in R&D. Inside the workshop, you could clearly see all kinds of developed gadgets and parts. Especially the blueprints on the wall, clearly showing the plane they'd seen before. One old guy whipped out a notebook. Walked over to you right away. What material did you use for the plane's skin? It can even turn invisible. Not just radar stealth. Even the human eye can't see it sometimes. You explained to the general. That's a kind of biomimetic material. Its surface is a single integrated form, using both bio and metal tech. Its skin changes based on the actual environment. It adapts. Even when it can't stay hidden, it can generate heat all around, making optical waves, which mess with line of sight. So people see it almost like a mirage. Add the jet speed to that, and people just can't spot it. Right after you finished talking, another old man crowded in to ask, so what's the deal with that sunken jet nozzle? How does something with that much power stay hidden inside the jet? How is its balance so steady? How did you pull that off? That comes down to 3 main points. How the dynamics work. The main key is strong enough power. A general cut in. So what's powering it? I checked everywhere on the plane, and there's nowhere to refuel. Does it have a hidden fuel cap? Actually, it's not powered by normal fuel. Fuel supplies could be cut off by foreign forces. So from the start, I used a mini nuclear power system, hidden inside the fuselage. It's also pretty safe. Everyone was shocked. What? A mini nuclear power system? You can really use that directly? You're not joking? How did you design those lines? Even the cockpit is totally game-changing. It doesn't feel like the original setup at all. Everyone kept asking questions one after another. They took notes seriously while learning. Anyone here could stand out. They could walk tall in any military district. But now, they're like elementary school students. There's a hint of admiration in their eyes. Every word you say is written down as if it's in order. That's just how it is. The equipment here, not to mention seeing it. Many haven't even heard of some things. Just the manual you left behind has so many features. They can't understand. So now that they finally meet you, of course they want to learn as much as possible. And you answer everyone, sharing all you know, without holding anything back. Before you know it, it's already dark. But these veterans are still excitedly gathered around you. In the end, Zhou finally stepped in to ease the situation. Chen Xiao, with Su Lao's side. Didn't you sign a strategic partnership agreement? But that's basically just Su Lao's research institute. Now, I'll represent the Dragon Air Force, and want to sign a strategic partnership with you too. We don't ask for much. Just to share the technology of this plane. Don't worry about payment. We'll guarantee at least 2 billion a year. Let's sign the contract now. We'll transfer the funds right away. Zhou said with a smile. How much? 2 billion. Every year? You wondered if you heard wrong. Zhou saw your surprised face, and quickly explained. Of course, we know that amount is pretty low. But currently, our Air Force budget is tight since the country is focusing on economic growth. It's hard to balance everything. A jet that can face nuclear-powered carrier fleets is honestly worth way more. After all, a whole nuclear carrier fleet is worth over 1 trillion. Just 2 billion is nothing. I'll sign right now. Patriotism isn't measured by money. Whatever Commander Zhou says is fine. Hearing this, Zhou got super excited, waving his hands. Hurry, transfer the payment to Chen Xiao. Send someone to prepare the contract. Get the place for signatures ready first. We'll fill in the details later. Zhou felt coming for Su Lao's birthday was the best decision he'd ever made. He saw a big leap in aviation and opened a new era for the Air Force. He made a quick decision, got the strategic deal with you, and sealed it. With shared tech, using all the country's resources if needed, they'll keep developing this plane. And not much is needed, just 10 of these jets. From now on, they'll have real power before America. For himself, this Air Force commander might enter the nation's history. Your phone vibrated. You checked it. 20 billion credited from the Dragon Bank. You saw the crowd behind you, and grinned. Your toy factory was finally making a comeback. Just upgrade the production equipment, and whatever you build next, efficiency will be through the roof. By the way, Commander Zhou, this time, we destroyed Sakura country's nuclear carrier fleet. Are they going to make us pay? You remembered what happened this afternoon, and asked Zhou pay? No way. They just barged into our territorial waters and airspace. It's lucky we didn't wipe them all out. Now they want us to pay? Do they think our sea is their backyard? They come when they want, and leave whenever? Zhou responded coldly. Now that we have your technical support, even if Sakura country is backed by America. So what? If they behave, being America's loyal guard dog is fine. If not, we'll take out their master too. Switch scenes. Inside the six-corner building in America, the air was tense. Mr. President, Dragon Country's weapons this time are beyond anything we knew. The defense minister stared at the huge screen, showing Sakura Country's carrier fleet in ruins. His voice trembling. Denbai slammed the table hard. They said that's a toy. Get their toy. Launch the highest level air raid alert. Notify all North Alliance members. We're right at the edge of World War VI. Gather all our joint fleets. Deploy all our strategic nukes in the Pacific. Push everything out. I want Dragon Country to know who's really in charge of Blue Star. With Denbai's command, the whole Western world shook instantly. Sharp air raid sirens sounded in all capitals overnight. Countless stealth fighters take to the sky. The massive Western Allied fleet closes in on Dragon Nation's waters from all directions. Media worldwide is going crazy with news coverage. Everyone thinks the end of the world is really here. Meanwhile, in Dragon Nation's top command center, General Zhou Old Su, and other military leaders aren't acting like they're facing a national emergency like before. Commander, we have a detection. 18 carrier strike groups from the beautiful nation and its allies are moving toward us, and all are equipped with nuclear strike capability. The communications officer reports. Zhou snorts coldly. If they're coming here to die, let's make it happen. Get in touch with Qinshao right now. See if he's got any new toys over there. Right now, at Zhao Haha's place, the toy factory is roaring with machines. Just got 2 billion in the account, and instantly redeemed it in the system. For the highest level fully automated production line, the old rundown workshop was instantly transformed into a secret military fortress with a hardcore industrial vibe. Man, this robotic arm is so smooth to use. You look at the dozens of giant parts being assembled and clap your hands, satisfied. At that moment, Zhou calls and speaks urgently, explaining that the beautiful nation's fleet is approaching. Brother Chen, this is a real problem this time. The other side brought the entire West's firepower. Your rockets and stealth jets are awesome, but there just aren't enough. I'm worried you can't handle all these targets at once. You hear this? And glance at the giant model that just got finished, and say calmly, no worries, Commander Zhou. I just finished a brand new supersized water toy. Was just looking for somewhere to test it. Move your defense line back a little. I'll bring it over. A few hours later, on the East Sea defense line, the beautiful nation's combined fleet blots out the sky. Warships packed tight, moving on the sea like a wall of steel. Denbai sits in the flagship's command room, watching the still Dragon Nation coastline on screen, and laughs arrogantly. The Dragon Nation must be scared out of their minds by us. Send down my order. Prepare to fire the first round of warning shots. But just as he finishes speaking, the radar operator suddenly screams like he's seen a ghost. Mr. President, a huge unidentified object is ahead in the sea. What is that? Annoyed, Denbai shoves the radar operator aside and looks out at the ocean. The next second, his coffee cup drops to the floor with a splash. On the calm sea, the water suddenly erupts to both sides. A warship 10 times bigger than their biggest nuclear carrier, an absolute monster, slowly rises from the depths. This warship's surface is pitch black with glowing blue plasma all over it, and it's fitted with a huge, choke-inducing railgun. On the side of the starship-sized destroyer, in huge Chinese characters, it says Xiao Haha, Toy Factory Product. Oh my god. What the hell is this thing? The beautiful nation's Navy chief's legs go weak, and he collapses on the deck. Inside, you're standing in the panoramic command room of that starship, holding a cup of goji berry tea. You press the speaker button. To the fleet ahead. Listen up. You're now inside the test zone for my new RC ship. If you don't want to get scratched up by a toy, then keep coming. Seeing that railgun charging up with destructive plasma, Denbai, who was so full of himself, is now terrified and orders a retreat again and again. Retreat now. That's a monster we can't handle. If anyone calls it a toy again, I'll shoot him. Watching the Western fleet scramble to retreat, Dragon Nation's defense line erupts in thunderous cheers. You just sigh helplessly. Seriously, I'm just chilling in a toy boat. How'd I scare them off again? As the pressure from the starship destroyer sweeps across the sea, the Western Allied fleet's retreat turns into a total panic. Trying to flee faster, a few beautiful nation missile cruisers actually crashed into each other in the chaos. President Denbai on the flagship literally crawled into the chopper in a panic, even left behind his prized nuclear football on the command room sofa. In less than half an hour, that massive fleet, trying to start World War VI, had only a few crates of crackers left afloat, and some life preservers. Meanwhile, back at Dragon Nation's command center, Zhou and the military brass are speechless watching the satellite feed, some even forgetting to breathe. Comrade Qinshao. Zhou voice is shaking. He looks at the hologram of the young guy sipping goji tea, like he's looking at God. You call this a big toy boat? That's a starship destroyer. That could slice the moon in half with one shot. You scratch your head, embarrassed. Sorry, Commander Zhou. It's just that we had enough funding, so I fine-tuned the old RC boat design. If you don't like the color, I can repaint it. I can even put Peppa Pig on it. The generals almost spit blood right there. Putting Peppa Pig on a planet-killer destroyer. If beautiful nation saw that, they'd probably just go insane. As the news broke, the world was shocked. That day, every international headline was dominated by Dragon Nation's ultimate secret weapon. Xiaohaha Toy Factory. Inside the beautiful nation's six-cornered building, the mood was like a funeral. Dunbai, wrapped in a blanket, shivering, sits at the oval desk. Defense and intelligence chiefs across from him with heads down. Nobody dares speak. Spies? Aren't our ace agents good for anything? Dunbai slams the table and roars. I don't care what it takes. Steal, rob, buy, whatever. I want those damn toys from Xiaohaha Toy Factory. Authorize $100 billion in special funds right now. I want that RC ship or whatever they got. The intelligence chief wipes sweat nervously and says bitterly, Mr. President, we can't buy them. We tried to order with offshore companies, but their customer service said, that big RC ship is a limited edition blind box. You gotta win a lottery draw. And only Dragon Nation IDs can verify. Then send agents to go steal the designs. Already did. Sent our 50 top ghost agents. The intel chief's about to cry. But before they even got near the factory wall, the plant manager's guard dogs caught all of them. Guard dogs? 50 elite agents taken down by a few dogs? Report to the president. That's a mechanical Dino beast model. Our agents were chased by those Dino mechs that shoot high-powered electric arcs. For 3 whole blocks. Now they're all tied up at the toy factory entrance. Acting as human welcome signs. Right now, Lavhaha Toy Factory has become the world's most mysterious and heavily guarded site. But to keep up appearances, the cartoon smiley sign still hangs on the front gate. The guards at the entrance have been replaced by the Dragon Nation's elite special forces. That afternoon, campus beauty Su Ruashua brought Grandpa Su to the factory. Grandpa Su's heart disease is all cured. He's walking with real vigor now, looking glowing and healthy. He grabbed your hand excitedly as soon as he walked in. You're the national treasure of our Dragon Nation now. The higher-ups have decided to designate the area within 50 miles of your toy factory as the highest level military special zone protected by our district 24/7. You helplessly sigh. Grandpa, I've told you. I'm just a legit toy manufacturer. If you keep doing this, how am I supposed to sell toys anymore? Su Ruashua giggled. Her beautiful eyes watched you. Are those just regular toys? Who has toys that can scare the United Fleet of Pretty Nations so bad they peed themselves? Oh, are you working on any new products lately? Your eyes lit up, and you led them deep into the workshop. They saw a set of person-sized silver armor with sleek lines, looking extremely futuristic. The chest has a glowing blue mini reactor. This is my latest transformation armor set, the deluxe version. You tapped the armor shell and proudly introduced it. Grandpa Su's eyelids twitched with the past experiences. He knew this thing was anything but simple. He cautiously asked, what functions does this armor have exactly? You replied casually, not much really. Just used a bit of strong interaction force material. It can withstand any physical attack below a nuclear blast. Also comes with a supersonic personal flight engine and an antimatter particle ray. I figure when kids wear it to play in the mud, they won't get their clothes dirty. Grandpa Su gasped, clutching his chest and taking 2 steps back. It can resist nuclear blasts and has a personal faster-than-light antimatter ray gun. And you're calling this keeping kids' clothes clean? You chuckled. Grandpa Su had to take several deep breaths to calm down. He stared at that personal armor with shining eyes. The World United Military Competition, held every 4 years, is about to start. Pretty Nation always bragged. Their exoskeleton mechs were unbeatable. Can we borrow the set for our Dragon Nation Special Forces to practice with? You nodded without hesitation. No problem. I'm planning to mass produce 70 or 80 more. I'll set up a mech guard squad for you guys to have fun with. Watching your calm face, Grandpa Su and Su Ruashua exchanged glances. They knew, at next month's military competition, Pretty Nation's proud mech army will probably get wrecked by these armor suits, leaving them traumatized. The world's rules are being rewritten by a young toy factory owner. For good. A month later, deep in the Salaha Desert, the World United Military Competition officially kicks off. This time, Pretty Nation went all out to erase the shame of their fleet being scared by toy boats before. President Denby directly approved Zeus, the personal exoskeleton mech still in top-secret testing, to fully equip their competing team. And that's not all. They also spent big to invite over 200 top media outlets worldwide for a full global HD live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, now approaching us is Pretty Nation's Zeus Mech Squad. Each suit costs up to $1 billion. Equipped with the most advanced micro-Vulcan cannons and peace tour armor. Pretty Nation's commentator is screaming hoarse in the live stream. Today we'll prove to the world that absolute ground strength crushes any flashy weapon. Delegations from every country sit in the viewing stands, watching those steel giants. With every step, stomping deep holes into the sand, the Pretty Nation mechs all gasped in shock. Just as everyone was talking, Dragon Nation's team entered. The whole place went dead silent. A few seconds later, everyone burst out laughing. 10 tall, tough-looking Dragon Nation commandos appeared, wearing cheap red plastic vests. Bright red ribbons fluttered from their necks. Each was holding a low-quality red plastic ring. But the best part was, on their feet, whenever they walked, the little wheels underneath would flash like kids' light-up rollerblades. What on earth are they up to? Is this Neza from a fairy tale? Big goofball MacArthur, the team leader from America, laughed so hard he had tears in his eyes. Did Dragon Nation just give up for good? Are they putting on a kindergarten performance now? On the viewing stand, Grandpa Sue and Joaimeen sat calmly sipping tea. A cold, knowing smile appeared on their faces. Only they knew. Those 10 silly-looking kids' costumes were actually Neza supersuits made by Chinchao. That red ribbon was a nanocarbon fiber capture belt. The red plastic ring was a plasma art cutter. And those flashy rollerblades were actually micro-anti-gravity, personal faster-than-light skateboards. Event 1, 100 kilometers full-gear cross-country race, starts now. At the ref signal, America's Zeus mech team powered up right away. Their engines fired up. Tracks and boosters roared to life, like 10 stampeding rhinos, charging to the finish at an incredible 150 kilometers per hour. Dust clouds everywhere. The sight was insane. Meanwhile, over at Dragon Nation's side, the 10 guys just stood at the starting line. Suddenly, the Dragon Nation captain took a deep breath and lightly tapped his flashy rollerblades. The skates instantly lit up with rainbow lights. And then, that classic low-quality electronic sound played. Our motherland is a garden where the flowers are so bright and pretty. With this playful background music, the tiny engines in the skates let out a quick, barely audible buzz. No sonic boom, no shockwave, not even a speck of dust. All 10 commandos just vanished from the starting line. Where'd the Dragon Nation team go? Where'd they go? MacArthur jumped to his feet, messing with the radar screens like crazy. Our report, General. The judge at the finish line broadcasted over the radio, voice shaking. Dragon Nation's team has reached the finish. Time, 0,00001 seconds. It was like a nuke went off in the world. 100 kilometers in 0,00001 seconds. That's like Ultraman teleporting. The high-speed cameras on the route, even playing it 10,000 times slower, could only barely catch a streak of rainbow lights, just a blur trailing behind. Meanwhile, America's Zeus team was still chugging through the desert, when suddenly, news came through their earpieces that Dragon Nation had already won. They almost face-planted into the sand together. Cheating. That's 100% a space warp cheat weapon. MacArthur screamed, losing it. But the contest had to go on. Event 2, Hardcore Showdown. Target Demolition. Both teams needed to destroy a target 10 kilometers away, made of Pinu alloy and 3 meters of reinforced concrete. A true doomsday fortress. America's mech team geared up again. Shoulder mini-missiles locked and loaded. With a deafening roar, dozens of high-explosive rounds whistled out, blasting the fortress into a fireball. See that? That's what American firepower is all about. The commentator felt pride again. Next up was Dragon Nation. Their captain slowly raised that red plastic ring you might find for $5 at a night market. Reporting in, sir. Director Chen said you just need to throw it. But take it easy, right? The captain asked over the comms, a little sheepish. Don't use too much force. That thing is an antimatter cutting ring. A direct hit could slice the Sahara in half. Joaimeen's anxious shout came over the radio. Carefully, like playing ring toss, the captain aimed the red plastic ring and casually tossed it at the fortress 10 kilometers away. The moment it left his hand, the plastic ring expanded rapidly in the wind, its cheap red surface suddenly bursting with a fierce blue plasma. The death ray ring spun silently out, and 10 kilometers away, that huge fortress. There was no explosion, no fire, just a faint sizzling sound, like a hot knife through butter. With the whole world watching, that towering fortress range, meant to withstand nukes, and all the crust beneath it, split right in half. The top half was instantly vaporized into dust by dark energy, vanishing on the spot, leaving a smooth slice, like a mirror-lined canyon. Total silence. You could hear a pin drop. The 10 American operators looked down at their missile launchers, smoke still rising from their Gatling guns, then glanced up at the canyon over there, as if someone erased it from the earth, and all dropped to their knees in the desert. Hands raised, they surrendered. MacArthur went black in the eyes, and just collapsed back in the viewing stand. Meanwhile, in the White House across the ocean, Denby watched the live stream, hands shaking as he reached for heart pills. Shut off the stream. Cut the global feed right now. Don't embarrass us any further. Meanwhile, over at Smile Toys in Tianhai City, you're lying on a rattan chair, eating watermelon, watching the broadcast. Old Wang the guard wiped his sweat and walked over. Boss, a few dozen army trucks just showed up outside. They say Commander Zhou's here to bring you banners and a reward. Following behind are a few rich guys, and some royals from the Middle East. They want to trade 3 oil fields for our Neza suit. Hand it over to the government.